Hey guys, so today I'm going to be going over how to play Katerina Assassins. This comp hard counters 6 Knights Kayle, which is super popular right now. It counters her when their board is not finished yet, so like they need a couple more knights or their board is not fully upgraded. But once the player has their 6 Knights board fully upgraded, you'll need Katerina to be 3 stars by then, or else you won't stand a chance. And even at 3 stars, you need to position everybody correctly, or else you're still going to lose to 6 Knights Kayle. Let's talk about the items you need on Katerina. So first you need a blue buff. Normal blue buff works better, but if you can't get it, shadow blue buff works as well. And it gives her a stack on the forgotten buff, so yeah, there's that. And then build an infinity edge. Don't build a shadow infinity edge because she's gonna kill herself as soon as she ulties, which is often with blue buff. She's gonna be jumping a lot, so yeah, she's gonna kill herself right away. So don't build a shadow infinity edge. Build a blue buff, regular infinity edge, and the third item can be situational. I've seen Morello that works really well on her, but I think the best item on her would be Shadow QSS, because when I play her, I see her getting CC'd and she just loses so much damage because she really needs to jump around. So if you can get a Shadow QSS on her, that's really good, but if you only have a normal QSS, I would say skip it and build Gunblade instead, because normal QSS just sucks so much in comparison, and she utilizes Gunblade really well because she ulties a lot. In some games I've built Giant Slayer that also works really well against 6 Knights because the tanks have a lot of HP. But the thing is, the third item on Katerina really does not matter at all. What you need to prioritize over her third item are shadow items. So on the carousel and the armory, if you're presented with a shadow item, you need to grab it no matter what it is, because you need those forgotten stacks in order for Katerina to do damage. So don't focus on getting Katerina the perfect third item, it really doesn't matter. What you need to prioritize are the rings on the forgotten units, so get the shadow items, put them on either Rise or Viego. Without it, she's not going to be able to one-shot anything, and you basically played her for no reason because she won't be able to one-shot Kayle. But if you can't get any more shadow items, like people took them or something, and there's just normal items left on the carousel, try to get components for a Zephyr, because down the road you need to Zephyr Garen. If they backline their Garen, you can just say bye to your entire team. Garen's ulti will just wipe them out. Once you have your Zephyr, you can Zephyr any unit if you can't hit Garen, if they're moving their Garen around. The only unit you don't want to Zephyr is Kayle herself, because then you're just keeping her safe in the air while the fight's going on. That's giving her free time to ascend safely, and that's when Katerina should be one-shotting her so that she can't even get to that point. Let's talk about the early game now. So your openers can look like Gragas, Warwick, and Kha'Zix. Warwick is gonna be kind of like your fill-in forgotten unit until you can get Viego and Rise, or just whoever's better. If you can get an early LeBlanc, that's probably the best start you'll have, because she utilizes Infinity Edge and blue buff just as well as Katerina. So yeah, that's probably the best case scenario, but if you can't get any of those, play your strongest board. Other units that can utilize Katerina's items and hold them in the meantime are Bran and Ziggs. Just any spellcaster that has low mana. Keeping the items on Bran is a good idea until you get Katerina, because then you can pair Victor with him for Spellweaver, and Victor is a forgotten unit, so he can just fill in the meantime. Let's talk about the mid to late game now. So you want to get to either level 7 or level 8 and start rolling for Katerina. Level 8 has better odds, but if you want to spike earlier, you can try rolling at 7, that works as well. And that's going to give you an advantage to spike before the Kayle players, because they're gonna spike pretty late, not until they get their knights like Garen and Darius, which they need to be level 8 for. Here you can see I don't have my 3-star Katerina yet, and I'm just losing to the guy right now, and my econ's down the drain because I was desperate, so I kept rolling, but yeah. In the late game, the forgotten units you want are Rise and Viego. Viego's another assassin, so naturally he pairs the best, and he's a 5 cost, so when you have your shadow items, try to itemize Viego because he's more important than Rise. Rise is kind of just there to give you utility, and he's also great for a mystic buff, so if you have an assassin spat, put it on Kindred. Kindred and Rise will give you mystic. And Kindred will ulti and save your team if the 6 Knights Kayle player backlines his Garen and Darius. Kindred is gonna be pretty clutch. You also want to find a Volibear to pair with Nocturne for Revenant, because Volibear is gonna disrupt their entire team. That's just really strong. The best way to stop Kayle is CC, which is also why Viego is really good against her, because if he can get to her, he's gonna stop her from raining down her swords. And Viego likes mana items, so if you could get more tears for him, that's good. If you have extra tears, you can put it on Rise as well. He also CCs. That's why this comp does so well against Kindred, because you have Diana ulti CCing them, you have Viego, you have Volibear, and you can also put in Ivern until you find the Volibear. Ivern also offers a lot of CC as well. So in the end, your team should look like 6 Assassins, 3 Forgotten, 2 Mystic, and 2 Revenant. For this game, I played 4 Brawlers with a LeBlanc holding my Katerina items, and it carried me to level 7, and then I slowly transitioned over to my Assassins, but you can put the Infinity Edge on Set in the meantime. He uses that really well. Another strong mid-game board is, like I said before, put the items on Brand and then play Abominations. So Nunu, Warwick in the front, and then have Victor to be Spellweaver with Brand. Or you can try to play Hellions and have Ziggs hold your items. So your team will look like Ziggs, Kled, and Hecarim, and then another Hellion. But that just takes a little bit longer to transition out of, because there's kind of like no common unit besides Hecarim being your Forgotten Cavalier. Okay, let's quickly talk about positioning now. So the way Katerina's targeting works is that she will throw her dagger at the furthest enemy. So you can put her on the opposite side of the board from Kayle so that she throws her dagger over there, but if you see that there's nobody protecting the Kayle, like the player didn't clump up his units all on one side in order to protect Kayle, what you can do is put Katerina right in front of Kayle, because Katerina's autos are going to kill Kayle, and then she can jump to the other side while Kayle's reviving, and once Kayle revives, Katerina's going to jump back to that side. So yeah, that's just how you kill the Kayle. While Katerina's doing all that, Viego's going to be CCing their tanks and also stealing them. So by the time Kayle revives, we'll probably have like their Taric on our side or their Darius. Okay, let's take a look at this round. We lost despite having 3-star Katerina because he positioned in a way that Leona is kind of the furthest unit from Katerina, not Kayle, so that Katerina doesn't jump to the Kayle right away. And with this comp, you really cannot waste any time. Even if Katerina jumps to Kayle later on, that might be too late because Kayle might have ascended by then. So you need to make sure that Katerina jumps to Kayle at the beginning of the fight, because when Kayle is reviving from GA, that takes a couple seconds, and then Katerina needs to go back and finish her off. So I saw that he moved his Leona to make sure that Katerina will jump to her again. That's good positioning if Katerina was on the other side, but I moved it over to the right side because I saw that now he has his Kayle exposed, so at least now Katerina can start autoing her and then come back to her, because it's better than her taking multiple ultis to finally get a dagger onto Kayle. GA on Kayle buys her time to ascend, so I can't stress enough how important it is that Katerina gets damage on her right away, because if not, and she comes out of GA, she might have already ascended by then. Okay, finally we're able to win, even though it was super close. You can beat Kayle in the end with this comp. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.